Welcome to Bangla City SATV News. This is Nuri Alamin with the headlines. Court sentenced former OC Pradip Kumar Das and Sub-Inspector Liaquat Ali to death. 6 others to life-term jail in Major Richard Sinha murder case. Month-long Dhaka International Trade Fair ends today. 227 companies from 11 countries participated this year. Australia and Bangladesh stand fast to build a more secure, prosperous and inclusive Indo-Pacific, said Australian Prime Minister. A Coxs Bazar court today sentenced Teknaf Police Station's former officer in charge, Pradip Kumar Das, and Sub-Inspector Liaquat Ali to death and 6 others to life-term imprisonment in Major Richard Sinha Mohammad Rashid Khan murder case. The court also acquitted 7 others, including 3 APBN members in the case. Coxs Bazar District and Sessions Judge Muhammad Ismail announced the verdict in presence of all accused in the case. Earlier on, police have produced 15 accused, including 12 policemen of the case ahead of the verdict. The judge read out important portions of 300-page verdict and observed that the murder was premeditated. On the night of July 31st, 2020, Major Sinha was shot dead by a policeman at a checkpoint on the Coxs Bazar Teknaf Marine Drive Road. The 26th edition of the month-long Dhaka International Trade Fair ends today at its new venue in the capital's Purbanchal. Some 227 companies from 11 countries participated at the fair in this year. In 2020, the DITF was cancelled because of severe fallout of COVID-19. Apart from Bangladesh, companies from India, Pakistan, Turkey, Thailand and South Korea participated in this year's edition of the fair. A Bangladeshi expatriate girl's body found in acid-filled bathtub in Sydney. The police arrested a man in connection with this brutal murder. The victim is yet to be formally identified by the police. However, according to the sources, the victim is Anima Hayat Anni, the daughter of the Abul Hayat and Afra Ruma, a Bangladeshi expatriates in Australia. The man arrested was reportedly living with the victim in the apartment surrendered on Monday afternoon. Meanwhile, Australia looks forward to strengthen the defence and economic cooperation with Bangladesh and eager to work towards the shared recovery from the unprecedented challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. Australia and Bangladesh wants to build a more secure, prosperous and inclusive Indo-Pacific, said Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison on the occasion of 50 years of diplomatic relations between Australia and Bangladesh today. He said the Australia-Bangladesh Trade and Investment Framework arrangement will be important. The agreement will energize and expand our business relationship, strengthening jobs and creating business opportunities in the both countries. Export-import activities between Bangladesh and India through the Banani Land Port remained suspended since today morning due to an indefinite strike called by the Petropol Port workers of India. General Secretary of Indian Petropol CNF Agent Staff Welfare Association said the strike was called protesting the various harassment by LP manager at Petropol Port. He also said that no transport staff is allowed to enter ICP and port without a unique card. However, the loading and unloading process at the port is going on at the normal pace. Voting ended in the 6th phase of the government polls at 218 Union Parishad across the Bangladesh amid apprehensions of violence. Now vote counting is going on. Electronic voting machines was used in 216 unions, while the electorate in rest 2 unions are stamping ballot papers to choose their representatives. Alongside, the police, RAB and BGP was on the field to tackle any untoward situation. Over 11,600 candidates contested for the various posts in 22nd district of the country. 144 candidates have already been elected unopposed. Of them, 12 were elected for the chairman post, 32 for the reserve women member post and 100 for the general member post. Viewers, we are taking a short break. Stay with Bangla City, SATV News. Welcome back, and you are watching Bangla City, SATV News. Now we bring you the international story updates. A priest was killed while another was injured after armed assailants opened fire on them in Peshawar on Sunday. Police said the incident occurred near the ring road within Gulbahar police station limits. The police statement added it was the William Shiraj was apparent at the crouch within the Chamkani police station limits. The body had been shifted to the hospital for conducting an autopsy while the further investigation was underway. Meanwhile, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Chief Minister Mahmoud Khan took the notice of the incident and directed the IG to take necessary steps for arresting the culprits. Meantime, Pakistan and Afghanistan have decided to establish a national-level coordination mechanism for the enhancing facilitation at border crossing points. The two sides have also pledged to initiate the barter trade, for which modalities will be worked out soon. The official announcements were made on Sunday when the National Security Advisor Dr. Mueed Yusuf concluded his two-day visit to Kabul, where he met senior Taliban officials. During his trip, Islamabad and Kabul also refreshed the commitments to cement their diplomatic, social and economic ties and vowed to ensure the peace and stability in the two neighboring countries. Torrential rains in Brazil's Sao Paulo state between the Friday and Sunday left at least 18 people dead, including 7 children, and left around 500 people without homes or the displaced. Reports say of the victims, 11 died on Sunday after landslide buried the several homes in cities in the interior of the state. Heavy rains were reported in the city of Sao Paulo without major incidents. Brazil has been badly affected by the several major weather-related disaster since the rainy season began in October. Portugal's ruling socialists unexpectedly won an outright majority to govern solo after the NAB elections on Sunday. It was so the far right make huge gains. The result paved the way for a stronger government under Prime Minister Antonio Costa as the country tries to boost its tourism development of the economy, which has been badly hit by the pandemic. Costa had previously relied on the far-left parties on underpin his minority socialist government since 2015. The socialists took 117 seats in the 230-seat parliament, up from the 108 in the outgoing assembly. Israel's President Isaac Herzog met the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi on the first official visit to the United Arab Emirates on Sunday. The UAE and Israel normalized the relationship in the 2020. President Isaac met with the Crown Prince Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. During over the 2 hours of talks, Herzog urged more countries in the region to join in recognizing Israel and condemned the recent aerial attacks on Abu Dhabi claimed by the Yemen's Houthi rebels. Media freedom in China is declining at the breakneck speed, according to a report by a group representing the foreign journalists in the country. Local journalists in mainland China and Hong Kong are also being targeted. The journalists are being harassed to severe to state that the handful of the correspondents have left mainland China over many different propaganda. Many other reporters have been detained for over a year and over allegations of being involved in state security cases. On the other hand, the Foreign Ministry denied all the objections. Former Miss USA Chesley Christ denied he also died Sunday on jumping from a building in the Manhattan, a New York City Police Department revealed. Police said the Christ jumped from the 29th floor on the Orion condominium on the building, while the New York police stated that they believe her death was a suicide, and the medical examiner still has to determine the cause of death after performing an autopsy. Shortly before her death, the former beauty, the pageant winner, had posted a photo of herself on Instagram captioned, "Many this day that bring you rest and peace." Christ, who held the 3 degrees from the 2 universities, worked in the civil litigations at the law firm and had been employed by the news site Extra TV as an entertainment correspondent. She also ran a blog on fashion. The brightest, warmest 30-year-old who hailed from the North Carolina was crowned Miss USA in 2019. Spotify technology will add a content advisory to any podcast episode that includes the discussion about the COVID-19. The authority took this decision after rock and folk listened for giving voice the misinformation about the COVID-19 vaccines. The advisory will direct listeners to the COVID-19 pandemic hub that contains facts and information from the medical and the health expert. The new effort to combat misinformation will roll out to the countries around the world in the coming days. Britain's Prince Harry and his wife Meghan also expressed their concern to Spotify about COVID-19 misinformation on its platform and are committed to continuing to work with the company. Spotify is also publishing the platform rules for the creator. Now a story from the sports world. Kumilla Victorians won against Chattogram Challengers by 52 runs today. The batter of Chattogram Challengers failed to chase a big score made by Kumilla. Kumilla Victorians batted in the first innings after losing toss and scored 183 runs. Liton Dash and Fab du Plessis made a partnership which helped Kumilla for making a standard score. Though the Liton failed to get 50, Fab du Plessis made 83 runs. All batter from the Chattogram except Will Jacks failed to accumulate his score. Will Jack made the 69 for his team. Because of other batters' failure, Chattogram Challengers didn't get the victory. Fab du Plessis has been the player of the match. Rafael Nadal created history at the Rod Laver Arena on Sunday. He won a historic 21st Grand Slam title, defeating Russia's Daniil Medvedev in the final of the Australian Open. In a match that lasted over the 5 hours, Nadal made an incredible turnaround to beat Medvedev 2-6, 6-7, 6-4, 6-4 and 7-5. This was the first time in over 14 years that Nadal came from the 2 sets down in win in Grand Slam game. The last was the 2007 Wimbledon, where they defeated Mikhail Yuzny of the Russia in the 4th round. The Spaniard became the first male tennis player to win the 21st Grand Slam titles, going ahead of the Switzerland's Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic of the Serbian, both tied at 20 each. Before ending, we go through Bangla City SATV News headlines again. Court sentenced former OC Pradip Kumar Dash and Sub-Inspector Liaquat Ali to death. 6 others to lifetime jail in Major retired Sinha murder case. Month-long Dhaka International Trade Fair ends today. 2027 companies from 11 countries participated this year. Australia and Bangladesh stand fast to build a more secure, prosperous and inclusive Indo-Pacific, said Australian Prime Minister. You are up to date with the Bangla City SATV News, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.